Aside from wins or losses, how do you evaluate the performance of a basketball team? Dean Oliver came up with the 4 factors of basketball success. So he identified key elements that influence a team's performance. These factors are shooting efficiency, turnover rate, rebound percentage, and free throw rate. What shooting efficiency does is it takes into consideration the value of a 3-point shot. So it becomes a more accurate measure of a team's shooting performance. Turnover rate represents the percentage of teams' possessions that end in turnovers. So it highlights the importance of ball security. The rebounding rate is the percentage of the total rebounds that the team gets. And then free throw rate measures how often a team gets to the free throw line relative to its field goal attempts. Now, the 4 factors are on a weighted scale where effective field goal is weighted more heavily than the other 3 factors, which makes sense because obviously if a team is a good shooting team, the percentages of having a successful game are more likely than if they don't have a good shooting performance. We have the metric in terms of how we identify and how we determine what's a good performance and what's a bad performance. If a team shoots above 50%, for effective field goal, that means that they had a good performance. 47 to 50% is an average performance, and below 47 is a bad performance. Turnover rate under 15% is what a good team should strive for. Average teams range between 15 and 17%, and anything higher than 17% is a bad performance. Rebounding rate, we have above 30% is a good rebounding rate for a team. Between 25 and 30 is average, and below 25% is a team that is not securing the rebound. Free throw rate above 20% is what a good team does in terms of getting to the free throw line. Average teams range between 18 and 20%, and bad teams are below 18%. If we compare UCLA, right, they have 2 games where they shot above 50% with their effective field goal, but in the games against Boston University and against New Mexico, they shot below 47%. Now, against Boston University, they were able to pull off the victory, but against New Mexico, they were not successful, and they ended up with a loss. The difference in the New Mexico game is the turnover rate. Against New Mexico, UCLA turned the ball over 24% of the time. What do you do when you have a bad shooting night? You can't always have a good shooting night. There's going to be nights where the shot is not falling. So how do you pull off a victory when you're not having a good shooting night? And the key element here is turnovers. If you can cut down on your turnovers, you give yourself a shot. If you can cut down on your turnovers and increase your rebounding rate, what you're doing is you're giving yourself extra possessions. So if you're not shooting the ball well, but you're generating extra possessions, you're giving yourself the ability to take more shots at the hoop, and hopefully quantity will eventually pay off and get you the necessary baskets that you need in order to win the game. So last year, UCLA did not have a good shooting team, and their pathway to victory was a low turnover rate and a high rebound rate. If they had a low turnover rate and a high rebound rate, they were in the games and they were likely to pull those games off. If they turned the ball over, they were done. They were cooked. If you have a team that is not a good shooting team, you have a team that struggles to put the ball on the hoop, you got to manufacture baskets in another way. You got to find a way to get the ball in there somewhere if it's not falling from the outside. The best possible way for victory is to decrease your turnovers and to increase the amount of rebounds you're getting, especially on the offensive end. If you increase your offensive rebounding rate, you're giving yourself extra possessions on the offensive side while not turning the ball over. A good way to figure out if your performance was good, aside from wins and losses, is to look at the 4 factors and then to look at how the 4 factors range from game to game, and pay attention to that turnover rate and what is the outcome of those games when that turnover rate is low, and what is the outcome of the games when that turnover rate is high. Coaches, there's going to be times where the team that you have is not a good shooting team, and you still got to figure out a strategy to help your team win. The 4 factors is a good method to use to teach our players that they need to not turn the ball over, and they need to hit the glass if they're going to have a good outcome and give themselves a shot to win the game.